You're not lazy. You've never been lazy. You've started things, restarted things, written the goals down, made the plans, felt the motivation spike, and then watched it drain away like water through cupped hands. And here you are again. Not in some dramatic low point, just that quiet, grinding 11 p.m. feeling of scrolling through someone else's life, wondering why yours still looks the same as it did a year ago. Nobody talks about that feeling honestly. The waiting. Not waiting for permission, not waiting for resources, just waiting for the version of events where something finally shifts, where the decision or the day or the conversation comes along that flips everything. People spend years in that waiting room. Some people never leave it. Here's what I want to tell you, and I want you to hear this clearly. That shift is not coming from the outside. There is no decision big enough. There is no motivation powerful enough. There is no single breakthrough that works the way you think it does. The research is unambiguous on this. Neuroscience is unambiguous on this. Real lasting change doesn't arrive in flashes. It builds in the silence. It happens in moments so small they don't feel like moments at all. That's what these 20 habits are. Not hacks, not productivity tricks, not the kind of thing that sounds good and disappears by Thursday. These are the specific, repeatable, almost embarrassingly quiet actions that actually restructure how your brain operates, how it signals identity, how it builds momentum, how it decides who you are. Stay until the last one. Because habit 20 is the one most people skip, and it's the reason everything else fails. Habit 1, morning sunlight. Within 10 minutes of waking, get outside or stand at a bright window for 60 to 90 seconds. Andrew Huberman at Stanford has documented how this single behavior sets your cortisol peak, regulates your circadian clock, and boosts afternoon alertness, all from less than 2 minutes of doing almost nothing. The light hits retinal cells that signal directly to your suprachiasmatic nucleus. That's your master clock. You're not just waking up, you're synchronizing. Habit 2. Water first. Before coffee, before your phone, drink a full glass of water, roughly 16 ounces. Overnight, you lose nearly a pound of water through respiration alone. Your brain is 75% water, and a 1% deficit measurably impairs attention and short-term memory. 45 seconds, a glass of water, the most underrated cognitive performance tool available. Habit 3, the one-sentence journal. James Pennebaker at the University of Texas spent decades studying expressive writing. Even brief daily writing, one sentence about how you're feeling, what you're anticipating, what you're carrying, activates the prefrontal cortex and reduces the noise of unprocessed emotion. You're not journaling for posterity, you're clearing the RAM before the day runs on it. Habit 4, visualization with specificity. For 60 seconds, close your eyes and see one outcome you want that day. Not as a wish, but as a film. Gabriele Oettingen's research at NYU shows that vague optimism actually reduces motivation. But specific mental contrasting, picturing the goal and the obstacle, primes the brain for directed action. You're not dreaming, you're rehearsing. Habit 5. Set one intention. Before anything else demands your attention, write down the single most important thing you will do today. Not a to-do list, one thing. Cal Newport calls this the deep work anchor. Without it, the day fills itself. With it, even a fragmented day can contain at least one moment of genuine progress. One sentence. That's the habit. Habit 6. Single tasking blocks. For a focused period, even 25 minutes, close everything except what you're working on. Not because multitasking is lazy, because it's neurologically expensive. Gloria Mark at UC Irvine found that after an interruption, it takes an average of 23 minutes to return to full cognitive engagement. Every tab switch is a withdrawal from an account with a slow refill rate. Single tasking is the highest return habit in this entire list, and it costs you nothing but the decision. Habit 7. The 2-minute startup. When you're resisting a task, commit to just 2 minutes. That's it. The Zeigarnik effect, named for psychologist Bluma Zeigarnik, shows that incomplete tasks create cognitive tension that pulls you back in. Starting is the entire game. 2 minutes of beginning almost always becomes 20 minutes of doing. The activation energy is the only barrier. Lower it. Habit 8. The breath buffer. Before any high-stakes conversation, email, or decision, take 2 slow breaths. A 4-count inhale, a 6-count exhale. This isn't relaxation theater. The extended exhale activates the parasympathetic nervous system, lowers cortisol within seconds, and shifts the prefrontal cortex back online after a stress response. 2 breaths. That's it. Between stimulus and response, you're inserting a pause big enough to think in. Habit 9. The "and then what" chain. Once a day, take any task you're avoiding and ask, "and then what?" Then ask again. 3 iterations typically reveal either that the outcome you're afraid of isn't catastrophic, or that the actual next step is far more obvious than the avoidance felt. It's a 45-second exercise in diffusing cognitive overwhelm by following the fear to its logical destination. Most of the time, the destination is fine. Habit 10. Movement snacks. Every 90 minutes, stand up and move for 60 to 90 seconds. Walk to the window. I did 10 bodyweight squats. Shake out your hands. Wendy Suzuki at NYU has shown that even brief movement spikes BDNF, brain-derived neurotrophic factor, which improves focus, mood, and memory consolidation. The research on prolonged sitting is grim, but the antidote isn't a gym. It's interruption. Every 90 minutes, 90 seconds, that's the minimum effective dose. Habit 11. The genuine compliment. Once a day, give one specific, unprompted compliment to someone in your life. Not "great job," something you actually noticed. The way you handled that conversation was impressive. Research from the University of Tokyo found that receiving a compliment activates the striatum, the same region triggered by monetary rewards. You're literally rewarding someone's brain. And here's the compounding effect. People who give compliments consistently report higher social connection and greater personal satisfaction. The generosity loops back. Habit 12. Use their name. When speaking with someone, use their name once, at the beginning or the end. Dale Carnegie's observation has now been confirmed neurologically. Hearing your own name activates self-referential processing in the brain's default mode network. It signals, "You matter, I see you." One word, massive social return. Habit 13. Assume positive intent. Once a day, when you notice yourself assuming a negative motive behind someone's behavior, consciously generate one alternative explanation. Not naively, just one other possible reading of the same event. Brené Brown's research consistently shows that this single cognitive habit reduces reactive conflict and increases psychological safety in relationships. It costs nothing. It builds trust invisibly. Habit 14. The 3 good things. Before sleep, write down 3 specific things that went well today and why. Martin Seligman at Penn ran this protocol and found it measurably increased well-being for weeks after participants stopped doing it. The mechanism: you're training selective attention. The brain defaults to threat detection. You're manually overriding that bias with evidence. Every night, 3 things. This is how optimism is built, not as a personality trait, but as a trained perception. Habit 15. Micro-kindness. Once a day, do one small, unrequested act for someone. Hold a door an extra beat. Respond to a message you'd been letting sit. Forward something useful. The research on pro-social behavior consistently shows it elevates mood more reliably than doing something nice for yourself. And unlike large acts of generosity, micro-kindness doesn't require planning, money, or time, just attention. Habit 16. Cold exposure. End your shower with 30 to 60 seconds of cold water. Susanna Soberg's research in Copenhagen found that brief cold exposure dramatically elevates norepinephrine, sometimes by 300%, while activating brown fat thermogenesis. The neurological effect is a sustained mood and focus lift that lasts hours. But more than the physiology, there's a psychological benefit. You're practicing voluntary discomfort. Every morning you do something hard on purpose. You train the part of your brain that believes difficulty is survivable. That transfers. Habit 17. 5 pages before screens. Before checking your phone in the morning, or the equivalent time slot you choose, read 5 pages of a book. Not an article, not a newsletter, a book. The sustained attention required rewires your reading brain, which is also your thinking brain. Marianne Wolf at Tufts has documented how deep reading builds the cognitive infrastructure for complex analysis and empathy. 5 pages, 10 minutes, a different kind of mind, built one session at a time. Habit 18. The weekly reset. Sunday evening, spend 5 minutes reviewing the week. What happened, what drifted, what you want to carry forward. And this isn't productivity theater, it's what David Allen calls a mind sweep. Unresolved open loops create low-grade cognitive anxiety that quietly drains attention all week. Closing them on Sunday means Monday starts clean. 5 minutes, enormous psychic return. Habit 19. The sleep signal. Pick one behavior that you do every single night before bed. Same behavior, same time. Not because it's magic, because the brain learns to associate that signal with sleep onset. Matthew Walker at Berkeley has documented how consistent pre-sleep cues accelerate the transition to deep sleep by reducing cortical arousal. It can be anything: herbal tea, dimming lights, 2 pages of fiction. The content doesn't matter. The consistency does. You're not winding down, you're sending a signal, and habit 20, never hit zero. And this one is different from the others. It's not a technique, it's a principle, and it might be the only thing that actually holds all the others together. On the days when everything falls apart, when the morning is chaos, when the afternoon is a grind, when the evening leaves you with nothing, do one thing, not everything. 20 seconds of sunlight, 1 sentence in the journal, a single glass of water. The size of the action doesn't matter. What matters is the signal you send to your own brain about who you are. Identity is built in small, repeated confirmations. Every time you show up, even minimally, you're casting a vote for a version of yourself. The person who never hits zero is not someone who does everything perfectly. They're someone who doesn't disappear on hard days. That's all. And over time, not in days or even weeks, but over months and years, that consistency becomes the most valuable asset you have. Because the habits in this list don't produce results in a week. They produce a different person in a year. Invisible until they're undeniable, quiet until they're structural. You don't need to start all 20 today. Start with one. The one that felt most obvious when you heard it. The one your brain quietly flagged with, "I already knew that, I just haven't been doing it." Start there, tomorrow morning. 60 seconds. The compound curve doesn't require a dramatic launch. It just requires that you don't stop.